Princess Lyrelei pressed her hand against the cold crystal window of her tower room. Far below, she could see the docking bay where human ships waited like sleeping metal birds. The humans moved between their ships with quick, careful steps. Even from this distance, she could feel their emotions through her telepathic gift. They were tired, but they never gave up hope. Her skin glowed soft blue in the dim light of her room. All Zephyrians had this gift of light, but hers had grown darker each day as her wedding approached. In 3 days, she would marry Lord Vextar of the Hegemony. The thought made her light dim even more. "Princess, your father wishes to see you," said Keeper Velma, her old teacher, from the doorway. Lyrelei turned away from the window. She had known this moment would come. Her father, Emperor Zaldan, sat on his crystal throne in the great hall. The throne room was beautiful, with walls that caught and reflected light in rainbow patterns. But today, it felt like a prison. "My daughter," the Emperor said. His voice was kind but tired. "I know you are not happy about the marriage. Father, please, there must be another way," Lyrelei said. She knelt before the throne as custom demanded, but her eyes stayed on his face. The Emperor looked older than his years. The genetic plague that was killing their people had not touched him yet, but the worry had aged him. "You know there is no other choice. Our people are dying. Every month more children are born sick. The plague spreads faster than our healers can fight it. But the Hegemony wants to enslave the humans," Lyrelei said. "I can feel their pain, Father. The humans don't deserve what Vextar plans for them." "I know." The Emperor's light flickered with sadness. "But if we don't ally with the Hegemony, our entire race will die. At least this way, the Zephyrians will survive." Lyrelei stood up, her light flashing brighter with anger. "Survive as what? As servants to creatures like Vextar? The humans I see down there have something we're losing, Father. They have hope. They fight, even when they can't win." "Hope doesn't cure genetic plagues," the Emperor said firmly. "The Hegemony has promised us medical help and protection. In return, we give them safe passage through our space and your hand in marriage to Lord Vextar. What about the humans in the colonies? What happens to them?" The Emperor was quiet for a long moment. "That is not our concern." Lyrelei felt her heart break a little. It should be. That night, Lyrelei couldn't sleep. She put on the simple brown robes of a palace servant and covered her glowing skin with a dark hood. She had to see the humans up close, to understand what made them different. The docking bay was busy even at night. Human workers loaded supplies and fixed their ships. Lyrelei hid behind cargo boxes and watched them work. These humans were not the savage creatures the Hegemony claimed they were. They worked together, helped each other, and laughed even when they were tired. She moved closer to get a better look. A human woman with dark skin was teaching a younger man how to fix an engine. "See here," the woman said, pointing to the machine. "Parts." "Humans have always been good at fixing things that shouldn't work. We make it work anyway," the young man smiled. "Earth says we need to be ready to move fast. Something big is coming." "Something's always coming," the older woman said. "But we're still here." Lyrelei felt drawn to their conversation. She stepped out from behind the cargo box to get closer. Her foot hit a metal tool, and it rang like a bell in the quiet bay. Both humans turned toward the sound. Lyrelei tried to step back into the shadows, but it was too late. Palace guards had heard the noise, too. "Stop there!" shouted Guard Captain Rexon. "No servants are allowed in the docking bay at night." Lyrelei ran. Behind her, she heard the guards' heavy boots on the metal floor. She knew the palace better than anyone, so she headed for the old service tunnels that ran under the main building. These tunnels were dark and narrow, built long ago for maintenance workers. She slipped into a tunnel entrance and pulled the cover closed behind her. The tunnel was completely dark, but her skin provided enough light to see. She could hear the guards searching above her, their voices echoing through the air vents. "Find her," Rexon ordered. "If a servant was spying on the humans, we need to know why." Lorelei crawled through the tunnel as quietly as she could. She knew these passages from her childhood when she used to hide from her lessons. There was an exit near the garden that would get her back to her room safely, but as she moved through the tunnel, she heard a strange sound. It was like rushing water, but there was no water in these old passages. She felt a breeze on her face, and it smelled wrong. The air was getting thinner. Fear hit her like a cold wave. One of the old air recycling systems must have broken. The tunnel was filling with toxic gas from the ship engines below. She had to get out, but the exit was still far away. She tried to move faster, but her head was getting light. Her skin's glow was fading as the poison air made her weak. The tunnel seemed to stretch on forever. Each breath was harder than the last. Just when she thought she couldn't go any further, she saw a different kind of light ahead. It wasn't the soft glow of Zephyrian technology. It was the harsh, bright light of human tools. A human man was working on some pipes in a side passage. He was tall, with dark hair and careful hands. He looked up when he saw her light approaching. "What the hell?" he said in the human language. Then he saw her face under the hood and her fading glow. "You're not supposed to be here, and you're in trouble." Lorelei tried to speak, but she could barely breathe. She pointed behind her, toward the toxic gas cloud that was following her through the tunnel. The human understood immediately. He grabbed some kind of breathing mask from his tool bag and put it over her face. Clean air filled her lungs, and her light began to glow brighter again. "Gas leak," he said, more to himself than to her. He pulled out a small device and spoke into it. "Chen to base. We've got a toxic spill in Section 7. I'm sealing it off now." He worked quickly with his tools, closing off the tunnel behind them. When he was done, he turned back to Lorelei. "You're lucky I was working late. A few more minutes in that gas and you'd be dead." Lorelei pulled off the hood, revealing her glowing skin and the royal marks on her forehead. The human's eyes went wide. "Princess," he said, and started to bow. "No," Lorelei said quickly. "Please don't. You saved my life. I should be thanking you." The human looked confused but stayed upright. "Marcus Chen," he said. "Ship maintenance. And you really shouldn't be down here, Your Highness." "I know," Lorelei said. "I just wanted to see... to understand... Understand what?" Before she could answer, they heard voices echoing through the tunnels. The guards had found the tunnel entrance. "I have to go," Lorelei said. Marcus looked at the approaching lights and then back at her. "This way," he said. "There's another exit." He led her through passages she didn't know existed, past humming machines and glowing pipes. At a hidden door, he stopped. "This leads to the garden," Marcus said. "You can get back to your room from there." "Thank you," Lorelei said. "For everything." Marcus nodded. "Be careful, Princess. These are dangerous times." As Lorelei slipped through the door into the moonlit garden, she thought about his words. Dangerous times indeed. In 2 days, she would be married to Lord Vextar. The humans would lose their freedom, and her people would sell their souls for survival. But for just a moment, a human had saved her life without asking for anything in return. Maybe there was another way after all. Marcus Chen finished his report on the gas leak and tried to focus on his real mission. He wasn't really a maintenance worker. He was Captain Marcus Chen of Earth Special Forces, sent to gather information about Zephyrian defenses. But meeting the princess had changed everything. He couldn't stop thinking about her desperate escape through the tunnels, the way her light had faded when she was dying, the sadness in her eyes when she talked about understanding. Something was very wrong here, and it was bigger than just a political marriage. The next morning, Marcus accessed the human intelligence files on his hidden communicator. What he found made his blood run cold. The marriage wasn't just about alliance. It was about positioning hegemony forces for a surprise attack on Earth. Human command thought they had months to prepare. They had days. Marcus needed more information, but getting it meant going back into the dangerous parts of the palace. He was checking security routes when alarms started blaring throughout the station. "Princess Lyrelay is missing," announced the palace speakers. "All areas are to be searched immediately." Marcus grabbed his tools and headed for the tunnels. If the princess was trying to escape again, she might need help. And if she had information about hegemony plans, Earth needed to know. He found her 3 levels down in the oldest part of the tunnel system. She was trying to break through a locked door with a metal bar, but the door wouldn't budge. When she saw his light, she spun around with fear in her eyes. "It's me," Marcus said quickly. "Marcus Chen, from last night." Relief flooded her face. "They moved up the wedding," she said. "It's tomorrow. I tried to send a message to the human ships, but the communication system is locked down." "What message?" Marcus asked. "Warning them about the attack. Vextar isn't just marrying me for alliance. He's positioning his fleet to destroy Earth while your people think they're safe." Marcus felt his heart stop. "How do you know this?" "I'm telepathic. I can read emotions and sometimes thoughts. When Vextar touched my hand yesterday, I felt his plans. He's going to use our wedding ceremony as cover. While the galaxy watches us get married, his ships will jump to Earth." Marcus activated his emergency communicator. "Chen to command. Priority Alpha. The attack is happening now, not in months. Repeat, the hegemony fleet is moving on Earth." Static answered him. Then a voice came through. "Chen, where did you get this information?" "From Princess Lyrelay herself. Commander, we need extraction for both me and the princess." "Negative. Mission is intelligence gathering only. Do not compromise your cover." Lyrelay was watching his face. "They won't help me, will they?" Marcus looked at her glowing skin, her desperate eyes, and made a decision that would change everything. "Command, I'm going off mission, requesting immediate backup for princess extraction." "Chen, you're ordered to maintain cover and complete your original mission." Marcus turned off the communicator. Sometimes you have to choose between following orders and doing what's right. Lyrelay's light brightened with hope. "You'll help me?" "I'll help you," Marcus said. "But we need a plan and a team. I can't do this alone." Marcus activated his emergency beacon. Within an hour, his extraction team arrived at the station disguised as additional maintenance workers. Commander Sarah Okafor was a brilliant tactical mind who could plan impossible missions. Tech specialist Dmitry Volkov could hack any computer system ever built. Dr. Elena Vasquez knew more about alien biology than anyone on Earth. They met in a hidden maintenance room deep in the station's core. "Let me understand this," Sarah said. "You want us to kidnap an alien princess from the most secure facility in Zephyrian space?" "Extract," Marcus corrected. "She wants to come." "The difference matters why?" Sarah asked. Lyrelay stepped forward. Her light was dim with worry, but her voice was strong. "Because if I marry Vextar, your people will die. All of them. The hegemony has been planning this attack for years. They weakened my people with a genetic plague to force this alliance." Elena looked up sharply. "A genetic plague? That's not natural." "No," Lyrelay said. "It's not. But I can't prove it. I only know what I felt in Vextar's mind." Dmitry was already working on his portable computer. "If there's proof, it'll be in the hegemony databases. But those are on their ships, not here." Sarah studied the palace layout on her tablet. "Security will be impossible during the wedding. Preparations. Too many people moving around, too much chaos. That's our window." "How do we get her out without starting a war?" Marcus asked. "We don't," Sarah said simply. "The moment we take the princess, this becomes an act of war. But if she's right about the attack on Earth, war is coming anyway. At least this way, Earth will be ready." Lyrelay touched Marcus's hand. When their skin met, he felt a strange, tingling sensation, like electricity, but warmer. "There's something else," she said. "I can share memories through touch. If you're willing, I can show you what I saw in Vextar's mind." Marcus nodded. "Show me." Lyra Lee placed both hands on his face. The world around Marcus disappeared, replaced by images and feelings that weren't his own. He saw Earth through Vextar's eyes, saw human colonies burning, saw ships full of human slaves. He felt Vextar's cold satisfaction at the thought of breaking humanity's spirit. When the vision ended, Marcus was shaking with anger. "Sarah, we're doing this!" Sarah looked at her team. Each of them nodded. "All right. We have 18 hours until the wedding ceremony. Here's what we're going to do." The plan was complex, but simple. During the wedding preparations, Elena would create a distraction using her knowledge of Zephyrian biology. Dmitri would hack the palace's security system to create blind spots in their surveillance. Sarah would coordinate their escape route to the hidden human ship. Marcus would stay with Lyrelai, protecting her during the chaos and getting her to the extraction point. "What about your mission?" Sarah asked Marcus. "Command still wants intelligence on Zephyrian defenses." "Our mission just changed," Marcus said. "Now we're saving Earth." As they prepared for the operation, Lyrelai pulled Marcus aside. "There's something you should know. When I shared my memories with you, it created a mental link between us. I can feel your emotions now, and you might start feeling mine." Marcus had noticed something different. A warm feeling in the back of his mind that wasn't his own. "Is that dangerous?" "Not dangerous," Lyrelai said, "but permanent. We're connected now." Marcus thought about this. He could feel her fear, but also her determination, her sadness about leaving her people, but her hope that this might save both their races. "I can live with that," he said, "even if we can never go back to our old lives." Marcus looked at her glowing skin, her alien features, her eyes that held so much pain and hope, especially then. The next morning, wedding preparations began throughout the palace. Nobles arrived from across the Zephyrian Empire. Hegemony ships took positions around the station, supposedly for security, but actually for the coming attack. Marcus checked his equipment one last time. In a few hours, they would either save 2 civilizations or die trying. He felt Lyrelai's nervousness through their mental link and sent back his own calm confidence. "Ready?" Sarah asked through his earpiece. Marcus looked toward the princess's tower, where Lyrelai was being prepared for her wedding. Through their link, he felt her terror, but also her trust in him. "Ready," Marcus said. The operation began. The wedding ceremony was set to begin in 2 hours. Lyrelai sat in her tower room as servants dressed her in traditional marriage robes. The fabric was beautiful, woven with threads that caught light like captured stars. But to her it felt like a burial shroud. Through the mental link with Marcus, she could feel his calm determination as he and his team moved into position. The connection was stronger now, and she could sense his thoughts more clearly. He was scared too, but he pushed the fear aside with practiced discipline. "Princess, you look beautiful," said Keeper Velma, adjusting the ceremonial crown on Lyrelai's head. "Your people will be proud." Lyrelai smiled sadly. "I hope they will understand what I'm about to do." Down in the palace's lower levels, Elena was preparing her distraction. She had studied Zephyrian biology for years and knew exactly how their bioluminescent systems worked. Using chemicals from her medical kit, she created compounds that would react with Zephyrian light-producing cells. "Dmitri, are you ready?" Sarah asked through the communication system. "Give me 2 more minutes," Dmitri replied. He was deep in the palace's computer core, his fingers flying over holographic interfaces. "These quantum encryption codes are trickier than I thought," Marcus was positioned near the ceremonial hall, disguised as a maintenance worker checking the lighting systems. Through the mental link, he felt Lyrelai's growing anxiety as the ceremony time approached. "Hang on," he whispered, knowing she would hear him through their connection. "We're coming." Lord Vextar arrived with great ceremony, his black hegemony ships forming a threatening circle around the station. He was tall and reptilian, with scales that shifted color based on his mood. Right now, they were the dark red of satisfaction. "Today the hegemony gains a valuable ally," Vextar announced to the gathered nobles. "And humanity loses its last. Protection!" Emperor Zaldon stood beside the alien lord, his own light dim with shame. He knew what this alliance really meant, but he felt he had no choice. "It's time," Sarah announced. "Elena, start the show." Elena released her compounds into the palace's air system. Within minutes, every Zephyrian in the building began to glow brighter and in different colors than normal. The effect was beautiful, but alarming. Their skin flashed in patterns of blue, green, and purple. "What's happening?" someone shouted in the ceremonial hall. "Medical emergency," Elena announced over the communication system, using her credentials as a xenobiologist. "All Zephyrians need immediate medical attention. This could be a new outbreak of the genetic plague." Panic spread through the palace. Guards ran to help the glowing nobles instead of watching the entrances. Servants fled to the medical bay. In the chaos, Dmitri finished his hack of the security system. "Cameras are down," he reported. "We have a 15-minute window before backup systems come online." Marcus moved quickly through the corridors toward Lyrelai's tower. He could feel her relief through their mental link as she realized the plan was working. But Lord Vextar was not fooled by the distraction. His reptilian brain was built for warfare, and he recognized a tactical diversion when he saw one. "Seal the palace," he ordered his hegemony soldiers. "Find the humans responsible for this." Lyrelai heard the order and felt a spike of fear. Through the link, Marcus felt it too. "They know," she warned him telepathically. "Vextar has ordered his soldiers to find you." "Then we move fast," Marcus replied. He reached her tower just as hegemony soldiers began their search. Lyrelai was waiting by the window, still wearing her wedding dress but ready to run. "This way," Marcus said, leading her toward the emergency stairs. They made it down 2 flights before the shooting started. Hegemony soldiers had found Elena in the medical bay and realized the glowing effect was harmless. Now they were hunting. "For the rest of the team, Chen, we've got problems." Sarah's voice crackled through his earpiece. "Dimitri's pinned down in the computer core, and Elena's fighting her way out of the medical section." Marcus and Lyrelai reached the main corridor. Ahead of them, a squad of hegemony soldiers was setting up a checkpoint. Behind them, more soldiers. "We're coming down the stairs." "We're trapped," Lyrelai whispered. Marcus looked around and spotted a maintenance hatch in the wall. "Not yet, we're not." They slipped into the maintenance shaft just as the 2 groups of soldiers met in the corridor. Below, the shaft was narrow and led toward the docking bay where Sarah was waiting with their escape ship. But halfway through the shaft, they heard the distinctive hum of energy weapons powering up. "Movement in the maintenance areas," a soldier reported. "They're in the walls." Energy blasts began cutting through the shaft around them. Marcus pushed Lyrelai ahead of him as metal sparked and melted where the shots hit. "Go, go, go!" he shouted. They reached the end of the shaft and dropped into a storage room near the docking bay, but hegemony soldiers were already there, waiting. "Princess Lyrelai," the squad leader said, raising his weapon. "Lord Vextar wants you returned unharmed. The human, however, is expendable." The soldier fired. Marcus threw himself in front of Lyrelai, and the energy blast hit him in the chest. He fell to the ground, his body convulsing as the alien weapon's energy coursed through him. "Marcus!" Lyrelai screamed. She knelt beside him, her hands glowing as she tried to use her healing abilities. But the weapon had done terrible damage. Marcus was dying. "Can't breathe!" Marcus gasped. Lyrelei placed her hands on his chest and reached deep into her telepathic powers. She had never tried anything like this before, but their mental link gave her a path into his mind and body. She poured her own life energy into him, sharing not just her healing power, but her memories, her feelings, her very essence. The mental link between them exploded into something deeper and stronger. Marcus felt himself drowning in alien sensations. He experienced memories of growing up in the Crystal Palace, felt the weight of royal responsibility, understood the loneliness of being different from everyone around him, but he also felt something else. Love. Pure, desperate, overwhelming love. Through their connection, Lyrelei experienced human memories. She saw Earth's blue skies, felt the determination that drove humans to explore the stars, experienced the stubborn refusal to give up that defined Marcus's people. The healing worked. Marcus's chest wound closed and his breathing steadied. But the process had changed them both. The mental link was now permanent and complete. They could feel each other's emotions as if they were their own. "Fascinating," said Lord Vextar from the doorway. He had arrived with more soldiers. "A telepathic healing bond. Very romantic. Very stupid." Marcus struggled to his feet, still weak from the healing. Lyrelei stood beside him, her skin glowing brightly with protective anger. "You're going to come with me now, Princess," Vextar continued, "and your human friend is going to die slowly for causing all this trouble." "No," Lyrelei said simply. "I'm sorry. I said no." Lyrelei's light was getting brighter. "I won't marry you. I won't let you destroy the humans. And I won't watch you." "Hurt him!" Vextar's scales shifted to angry yellow. "You don't have a choice." "Everyone always has a choice," Lyrelei said. "Marcus taught me that." Through their mental link, Marcus felt her plan forming. It was dangerous and would use up most of her remaining energy, but it might work. "Do it," he said quietly. Lyrelei smiled at him, then turned back to Vextar. Her skin erupted in brilliant light, brighter than any Zephyrian had ever glowed before. The light was so intense that the hegemony soldiers' equipment overloaded, and they were temporarily blinded. In the confusion, Sarah and Dimitri burst through the far door, firing human weapons at the disoriented soldiers. Elena appeared from another entrance, providing medical cover. "Move!" Sarah shouted. The team fought their way toward the docking bay as palace alarms wailed around them. Lyrelei was weak from the healing and the light burst, so Marcus carried her as they ran. Behind them, Lord Vextar's voice echoed through the corridors. "Seal all exits! They cannot be allowed to escape!" But they were already at their ship. Sarah had kept the engines running, and Dimitri had pre-programmed their escape route. As soon as everyone was aboard, the ship launched from the docking bay. "Hegemony ships are pursuing," Sarah reported. "Hold on, this is going to be rough." The ship raced away from the station with enemy fighters close behind. Energy blasts lit up space around them as they dodged between asteroids and debris. In the ship's medical bay, Elena checked Marcus and Lyrelei. Both were exhausted, but alive. More importantly, the mental link between them was stable. "I've never seen anything like this," Elena said, studying her medical scanner readings. "Your nervous systems are completely synchronized." Marcus and Lyrelei looked at each other. Through the link, they shared the same thought. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. On the bridge, Sarah was tracking multiple hegemony ships. "We're clear for now, but they'll keep hunting us, and both Earth and the Zephyrian Empire will consider us fugitives." "Then we better make this count," Marcus said, joining them on the bridge. "Lyrelei has information that could stop a war and save both our peoples." "If anyone will listen to us," Lyrelei added softly. Through the ship's windows, they could see the galaxy stretching out before them. Behind them, the Zephyrian station was already calling for their arrest. Ahead, the human. Colonies had no idea what was coming. The hidden asteroid base was cold and quiet. Sarah had found it 3 days after their escape from the Zephyrian station. It was an old mining facility, abandoned years ago but still functional, perfect for hiding while they figured out their next move. Marcus stood in the main command center, watching news feeds from across the galaxy. Every channel was talking about the kidnapped princess and the human terrorists who had disrupted the royal wedding. Earth's government was calling for calm. The Zephyrian Empire was demanding Lyralei's return, and Lord Vextar was using the incident to justify moving his fleet closer to human space. "The blockade is complete," reported Admiral Harrison from Earth Command on the secure channel. "Hegemony ships are preventing any human vessels from leaving our territory. They claim they're looking for the princess." "It's not a blockade," Marcus said. "It's positioning for attack. They're getting ready to hit Earth just like Lyralei warned us." Through their mental link, he felt Lyralei's sadness from the medical bay where Elena was running more tests. The connection between them had grown stronger over the past few days. Sometimes he forgot which emotions were his and which were hers. "Chen, your extraction was unauthorized," Admiral Harrison continued. "Earth Command is considering returning the princess to prevent war." "Admiral, with respect, returning her won't prevent anything. The hegemony planned this attack before we ever rescued her. Now at least we know it's coming." Sarah joined the conversation. "Admiral, we need to show you what Dr. Vasquez discovered." Elena appeared on screen, looking tired but excited. "I've been studying Princess Lyralei's blood and genetic structure. The plague that's killing the Zephyrians isn't natural. It's a bioweapon." Admiral Harrison frowned. "Explain. The genetic markers are too specific, too targeted. This plague was designed to attack Zephyrian DNA while leaving other species unharmed. Someone created it deliberately." "The hegemony," Marcus said. "They've been planning this for years. Weaken the Zephyrians with disease, force them into an alliance, then use that alliance to attack Earth. Lyralei figured it out when she touched Vextar's mind." Lyralei appeared on the medical bay camera, her skin glowing softly in the dim light. "My people are dying because of a lie," she said, "and now they're helping our killers destroy another innocent race." Admiral Harrison was quiet for a long moment. "Even if this is true, how do we prove it? The hegemony will never admit to creating a bioweapon." Elena held up a data pad. "I've been analyzing the plague's structure. If this was created artificially, there should be a cure in the original maker's files, probably stored in their biological research databases." "Which would be on hegemony ships," Sarah said. "The flagship," Lyralei added. "Vextar's personal, Dreadnought. He keeps all his most important files there." Dmitri looked up from his computer. "That ship has quantum encryption and physical isolation protocols. Even if I could hack it, I'd need direct access to their core systems." Marcus felt a cold realization forming. Through the mental link, Lyralei felt it too. "You're thinking of surrendering me," she said quietly. "Not surrendering," Marcus said. "But if we could get you back on that ship." "Absolutely not," Sarah interrupted. "It's too dangerous. Vextar will kill her the moment he has her." "Not immediately," Lyralei said thoughtfully. "He still needs the marriage for political reasons. The other hegemony lords expect it. He'll wait until after the ceremony to dispose of me." Elena was studying her medical readings. "There's something else. The mental link between Marcus and Lyralei is still growing stronger. At this rate, they'll be able to share thoughts and sensations across any distance." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked. "It means that even if Lyralei goes back to the ship, you'll still be connected to her. You could coordinate from inside." "Admiral," Harrison's image flickered as the signal struggled with interference. "This is all theoretical. We still don't have a practical plan for infiltrating a hegemony dreadnought." "Yes, we do," Lyralei said. Her light grew brighter as she thought. I request a meeting with Lord Vextar. I tell him I've realized the humans were using me, and I want to go through with the marriage after all. He'll never believe that, Sarah said. He will if I'm convincing enough. Vextar thinks all other species are inferior. He'll believe I came to my senses and realized humans can't protect me. Marcus felt sick through their connection. Lyrelai, if something goes wrong, then you'll feel it through the link and know to run, she said simply. But if we do nothing, both our peoples die. The plan took shape over the next day. Lyrelai would contact Vexatar and arrange to return. Marcus and the team would infiltrate the dreadnought during the new wedding ceremony, steal the biological data, and broadcast proof of the hegemony's crimes to the entire galaxy. It was insane. It was probably suicide. But it was the only chance they had. The ceremony will be broadcast galaxy-wide, Dmitri explained, working on his infiltration programs. Every major news network, every government, every military command. If we can hack into that broadcast and show the evidence, the other species will turn against the hegemony, Sarah finished. No one likes bioweapons. Even the hegemony's allies will abandon them. That night, Marcus and Lyrelai sat together in the asteroid base's observation deck, looking out at the stars. Through the transparent aluminum window, they could see distant suns and the faint glow of nebulae. Are you scared? Marcus asked. Lyrelai was quiet for a moment. Through their link, he felt her complex emotions: fear, determination, love, and deep sadness. I'm terrified, she finally said, but not of dying. I'm scared of losing this. She gestured to the space between them, the invisible connection that let them share thoughts and feelings. You won't lose it, Marcus said. Elena says the link is permanent now. Even if one of us dies? Marcus took her hand. Her skin was warm and gave off a soft glow where they touched. I don't know, but I know that whatever happens, we'll face it together. Lyrelai leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. In my culture, when two people share a mental bond like ours, they're considered married in the eyes of the universe. The ceremony is just for politics. Then we're already married? In every way that matters. She turned to look at him. Marcus Chen, will you marry me properly, before we risk everything tomorrow? Marcus felt his heart race. Through the link, Lyrelai felt it too and smiled. Lyrelai, I don't know your real name. I don't know the proper ceremonies. But yes, in every way that matters, yes. They spent the night together, sharing memories through their mental connection. Lyrelai showed Marcus what it was like to grow up in the Crystal Palace, the weight of royal duty, the loneliness of being different. Marcus shared his memories of Earth, his training as a soldier, the pride and fear of representing humanity among the stars. When morning came, they both understood each other completely. Not just as lovers, but as partners who had chosen to fight for something bigger than themselves. Ready? Sarah asked as they prepared to leave the asteroid base. Lyrelai was dressed in royal robes again, but simpler ones that showed her accepting her fate. Marcus wore his special forces armor, modified with Dimitri's infiltration gear. Ready, they said together. The plan required perfect timing. Lyrelai would surrender herself at the edge of hegemony space. While Vexatar prepared for the new ceremony, Marcus and the team would approach the dreadnought hidden inside a shipping container, infiltrate during the wedding chaos, and steal the biological data. If everything went right, they would expose the hegemony's crimes to the galaxy and prevent a war. If anything went wrong, they would all die, and both Earth and the Zephyrian Empire would fall to hegemony rule. Lyrelai? Marcus said before she left for the shuttle that would take her to Vextar's ship. I love you. Through their mental link, he felt her love flowing back to him like warm sunlight. I love you too, she said. See you on the other side. As her shuttle disappeared into hyperspace, Marcus touched the mental connection between them. He could still feel her there, scared but determined, flying toward the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. In 18 hours, they would either save two civilizations or watch them burn. The final phase began. The hegemony dreadnought, Eternal Dominion, was the largest warship Marcus had ever seen. It stretched for kilometers through space, bristling with weapons and armor. Thousands of smaller ships surrounded it like metal sharks circling prey. Marcus felt Lyrelai's fear through their mental link as her shuttle docked with the massive ship. He also felt her determination. She was playing her part perfectly, acting like a defeated princess who had realized the humans couldn't protect her. "Lord Vexitar," Lyrelai said as she was escorted to the bridge. Through their connection, Marcus could see and hear everything she experienced. "I apologize for my foolish behavior. The humans filled my head with impossible dreams." Vextar's reptilian features showed satisfaction. His scales had shifted to pleased yellow-green. "I knew you would come to your senses, Princess. Humans are useful for labor, not for thinking." "When will the ceremony begin?" Lyrelai asked. "In 4 hours," Vextar replied. "Long enough for my fleet to move into position around Earth. The humans still think they're negotiating for your return. They have no idea that while they watch our wedding, my ships will be destroying their homeworld." Marcus felt Lyrelai's horror at the confirmation of their worst fears. 4 hours. That's all the time they had. "Sarah, did you get that?" Marcus whispered into his communicator. "Confirmed," Sarah replied from their hidden position in a shipping container attached to the dreadnought's hull. "Elena, how long do you need to find the biological data?" "Give me 30 minutes once I'm inside their system," Elena said. The cure information should be in their medical research files. Dmitri was already working on his portable hacking equipment. "I can get us through their outer security, but someone will need to physically access their core computer to download the files." "That's me," Marcus said. He could feel Lyrelai's worry through their connection and sent back calm reassurance. The team moved through the maintenance tunnels of the massive ship. Marcus had studied the blueprints during their approach, but the reality was overwhelming. The dreadnought was like a floating city, with thousands of crew members and endless corridors. Through his link with Lyrelai, Marcus could track her location. She was being prepared for the ceremony in a royal suite near the ship's command center. The biological research lab was 12 decks below, heavily guarded. "Contact," Sarah whispered. "Hegemony patrol coming down Corridor 7. They pressed against the tunnel walls as alien soldiers marched past. Marcus held his breath, feeling his heart pound. Through the mental link, Lyrelai felt his tension and sent him a wave of calming energy. "Clear," Sarah said after the patrol. "Passed." They reached the computer core without being detected. Dmitri began his hack while Elena prepared her data analysis programs. Marcus stood guard, his weapon ready. "I'm in," Dmitri announced. "But their biological files are encrypted with quantum locks. I need more time." "How much more?" Sarah asked. 20 minutes minimum." Through his connection with Lyrelai, Marcus felt something change. She was being moved to the ceremonial hall. The wedding was starting early. "Change of plans," Marcus said. "They're moving up the ceremony. Elena, can you find what we need faster?" "Maybe if I had direct access to their medical bay instead of trying to hack through the central computer." Sarah checked her tactical display. "Medical bay is 3 decks up right next to the ceremonial hall. It'll be crawling with security." "Then we need a distraction," Marcus said. "Something big enough to pull guards away from both locations." He felt an idea forming through his connection with Lyrelai. She was thinking the same thing. "The wedding broadcast," Marcus said suddenly. "It's going out to every corner of the galaxy. What if we hijacked it early and exposed everything we know, even without the complete proof?" "Without the biological data, it's just accusations," Sarah pointed out. "But it would cause chaos," Dmitri said, understanding. The hegemony would have to respond. They'd pull security forces to deal with the crisis. Through their mental link, Marcus felt Lyrelai's agreement. She was ready to risk everything. Do it, Sarah decided. Dimitri, hack the broadcast system. Elena, get to that medical bay. Marcus, can you reach Lyrelai? Already on my way, Marcus said. He fought through corridors filled with wedding guests and ceremonial guards. The ship was in chaos as preparation for the galaxy-wide broadcast reached its peak. Through his connection with Lyrelai, he could feel her growing closer. In the ceremonial hall, Lyrelai stood before thousands of hegemony nobles and military officers. The room was magnificent, with crystal decorations and holographic displays showing the event to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Vextar took her hand, his scales shifting to triumphant gold. With this marriage, he announced to the cameras, the hegemony gains a valuable ally and eliminates the human threat forever. At that moment, Dimitri's hack took effect. The wedding broadcast suddenly cut to Elena in the medical bay, holding up data files. People of the galaxy, Elena announced. I am Dr. Elena Vasquez of Earth. I have proof that the hegemony created the genetic plague that is killing the Zephyrian people. Chaos erupted in the ceremonial hall. Guests shouted in confusion. Guards rushed toward the cameras. Vexitar's scales turned furious red. Find her, he screamed. Kill them all. In the medical bay, Elena was downloading everything she could find. The plague was created in hegemony labs 15 years ago, she continued broadcasting. They have the cure, and they've been withholding it to force the Zephyrians into slavery. Marcus reached the ceremonial hall just as hegemony soldiers surrounded Lyrelai. Through their mental connection, he felt her fear spike. The human terrorists are on this ship, Vextar announced to his guards. Find them and bring me their heads. Marcus burst through the ceremonial hall's doors, his weapon firing at the guards. But there were too many of them. Energy blasts filled the air as nobles screamed and ran for cover. Marcus! Lyrelai called out. She broke free from her guards and ran toward him. But Vextar was faster. The alien lord grabbed her around the throat, his clawed hand at her neck. How touching! Vextar hissed. The human has come to rescue his princess. Unfortunately, you're both going to die. Maybe, Marcus said. But the whole galaxy just learned the truth about you. On screens throughout the hall, Elena was still broadcasting. She had found the complete biological data and was showing the genetic markers that proved the plague was artificial. The hegemony has committed genocide, Elena announced. They murdered billions of Zephyrians to gain political control. Vextar's grip tightened on Lyrelai's throat. It doesn't matter. By the time anyone can respond, Earth will be destroyed and the Zephyrians will be too weak to resist. You're wrong, Lyrelai said softly. Through their mental connection, Marcus felt what she was planning. It was dangerous and would probably kill her, but it might save everyone. Do it, he said through their link. Lyrelai smiled at him one last time. Then she reached out with her telepathic abilities, not just to Marcus, but to every Zephyrian watching the broadcast across the galaxy. The mental scream she sent out carried all her pain, all her love for her people, and all her knowledge of Vextar's betrayal. Every Zephyrian in the galaxy felt it at the same moment. The truth about the plague, the planned destruction of Earth, and the call to resist. The effect was immediate. On ships throughout the hegemony fleet, Zephyrian crew members turned on their officers. Zephyrian nobles who had supported the alliance began broadcasting their own condemnations. The entire political structure of the hegemony started to collapse. But the effort cost Lyrelai everything. Her light began to fade as she poured her life force into the telepathic broadcast. Vextar felt her weakening and squeezed harder. Clever, princess, but it won't save you. Marcus emptied his weapon into the guards around them, fighting desperately to reach Lyrelai. Through their connection, he felt her life slipping away. Then Sarah and Dmitri burst into the hall with a squad of human Marines. Admiral Harrison's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. "This is Earth Fleet Command," the Admiral announced. "Hegemony forces, you are ordered to stand down immediately. Your crimes have been exposed to the galaxy, and your empire is falling apart." The remaining guards looked around in confusion as reports came in from across the fleet. Zephyrian ships were breaking formation. Other species were declaring independence from hegemony rule. The empire was collapsing. Vextar saw his defeat and decided to take Lyrelai with him. He raised a weapon toward her head. Marcus didn't think. He threw himself forward, tackling the alien lord. They crashed to the ground together, fighting for the weapon. Vextar was stronger, but Marcus was desperate. Through their mental link, Marcus felt Lyrelai's love flowing into him, giving him strength. He managed to wrench the weapon away and pointed it at Vextar. "It's over," Marcus said. Vextar's scales shifted to defeated gray. Around them, the ceremonial hall was filling with human Marines and surrendering hegemony soldiers. Marcus dropped the weapon and ran to Lyrelai. She was barely conscious, her skin flickering weakly. "The cure," she whispered. "Did Elena find it?" "Yes," Elena said, appearing beside them with a medical scanner. "I have the complete biological data. I can synthesize the cure within days." Lyrelai smiled. "Then it was worth it." "Don't talk like that," Marcus said. "You're going to be fine."